Hey everybody, it's Tim with Combat Fly Fishing. Today I'm going to teach you how to tie a Rainbow Warrior. This is a Lance Egan pattern. Real effective, really good looking pattern. I just want to show you some of the materials that I used to tie the original, because I'm going to tie this in a different color for you and show you kind of something a little different. With the original pattern, you're going to need, for the thorax, you're going to need the hairline light shade rainbow scud dubbing, and you're also going to need the UTC flat pearl tinsel, and it's kind of see-through. Now I'm going to tie this version that I like to tie exactly the same way, so not to take anything away from this. I'm just going to use different materials, and that's it. So let's get started. Spring is upon us, so I tie this, and I just call it the Purple Warrior because I tie it all in purple. And I also tie one called the Copper, but it's still the same fly. It's not anything that I've created. I'm just changing up the material. So I'm going to start out with a glass bead. To tie the purple one, I am going to use a black bead because I haven't really found a purple bead that looks right against the purple flash. And I'm just going to use a red 8/0 thread. Start out by threading the hook all the way down to the bend. Once you get down to the bend, you're going to want to tie in the tail, which is nothing more than pheasant tail fibers. Stack them on top there. Do a nice loose loop. Cinch it down. Yeah, it kind of got away from me. I think I can still save it. There we go. And then one more loop, and then you're just going to pull this to the length that you want, which is about a hook's length. And that looks pretty good right there. Now you're just going to tie down that pheasant tail till you're about a bead's width away from the bead. Snip the excess. And I'm going to just use the same kind of tinsel except in a color purple. Just lay it on the side there. Nice little wrap to secure it. Pull the length till it's just behind the bead, and then secure that tinsel all the way down to the fibers of the pheasant tail. You're just going to run that red thread up again. Now in the original, the mylar tinsel that you would use, you can see through it, so that red underbody will glow through it, and that's what kind of makes it, that's that fly's signature. When you're using these different colors, that red thread doesn't show through at all, but I still use red thread because I still put a red collar on this thing, and I'll show you that here in a second. So now you're just going to wrap and just have overlapping wraps with this tinsel. You can take it all the way up to the bead. Secure it. A couple wraps. Now just pull that mylar, that tinsel, back towards the back of the hook and just secure it. You're going to want to make sure it stays pretty close to being on top there. And now you should have about a bead's width between where the fold over is and the bead, and that's where we're going to put our thorax in. But for this one, I'm actually going to use the dark scud that's put out by Uline. And it's got this real metallic look to it. It looks really nice. But it's pretty wild stuff, so it's a little harder to control. But if you just get in here and make a little dubbing noodle, you won't need any waxes for this or anything. Sometimes just wetting the tips of your fingers will help tame this a little bit. And I'm just going to start working in that thorax. And sometimes if it's coming unraveled, you can just kind of pull it back into place. Get it right where you want it. Alright, now that you got your thorax in there, you're just going to bring this piece of tinsel up to the bead, secure it with one wrap, pull it back, and then another wrap. Now get rid of the tag end. And this is why I like the thread, because I'm going to build up that red collar right behind the bead. So that's similar to the original that has that red collar, kind of acts as a hot spot. And then I'm just going to put 3 or 4 whip finishes on that collar. And as you can see, there's some pieces that are kind of way out here. You can just kind of trim those up if you want to kind of tame those. But don't trim them all the way in. Let some of that stuff kind of hang out there. That'll capture oxygen in the water and make little bubbles. That'll also act as legs. It serves a lot of purposes. But this thing in the springtime is a good color. I want to show you another one that I do. I've already got it tied up. I'll just throw it in the vise. But I do it in copper, and this one fishes lights out year round. And to tie the copper one, I just use a copper bead, obviously, copper UTC medium flash, and then I use the dark scud material for the thorax. And then if I'm tying it, like I said in the original, I'll use the light colored. That's the only time I use the light colored on these, is with the original. All these other colors that I'll tie, well, yeah, and the red one. I guess if you tie it in red, I'd use the light colored if you're going to tie it in red. But if you're going to tie it in copper, or you're going to tie it in the purple like we just tied, use that dark stuff. Well, thanks for watching. That's how you tie the Rainbow Warrior. And leave me some comments below. Tell me what you think. Really try fishing this one. The purple one will work in the spring too, and sometimes they're on it, but this thing just fishes lights out year round. I found I love this in copper. It just really takes the cake. But subscribe to my page, and I'll keep punching these out and trying to build up a little bit of a library for you, so you can kind of sift through there and find whatever pattern you kind of want to find. Thanks for watching. Bye.